One of the specific issues I've heard of in Europe is in building larger structures that they do tend to tent buildings as they're being built, really to prevent water infiltration. I don't know how common that is across Canada. Maybe you could talk about your experience with those types of techniques.
Tenting buildings during construction is rare in Europe as well. I really only know of it as being something done for bigger wood buildings as they try and manage the construction moisture. So it's certainly not common across Canada. You have more tarps and scaffolding in Vancouver than any other place in the country for, I think, obvious reasons. So that is not a technology or a technique that's actually widely used anywhere. Most places, in Europe, they mostly build out of, concrete blocks or similar, and so they don't care that much about water. So in terms of tenting, I think that's something, if we need to do that, that's going to be something that we're going to have to develop as a homegrown solution.
And do you see that again, you mentioned the Vancouver environment, certainly we get a lot of rain. Do you see that as something to be looked at as, again, the region densifies and looks towards building more six-story wood or composite type structures?
Absolutely. I mean, as we build bigger buildings and taller buildings, construction time just naturally increases. And that means the time the building is out in the open naturally increases. Vancouver actually isn't that unique in the amount of rainfall it gets. It's unique in the number of hours during which it rains. They're quite different things. So if you want rain, go to Cape Breton. But in Vancouver, the challenge is it's just raining for many hours. Roughly 1 in 7 hours in the year, it's raining. And that means that in the intervening periods, you don't have as much chance to dry out because it's always getting wet again. So I think that's a challenge for all building systems and building types. But of course, materials that are more sensitive to moisture are going to be more affected. And as we build larger and taller buildings, managing moisture during construction is going to become increasingly important. It already is important, and I think people know that here in Vancouver. But it just gets more and more important as the buildings get taller and bigger, and the time exposed to weather increases.
Well, thank you, Dr. Straube. Great discussion.